Chapter 1. The day I found my first English cartoon. I still remember that day, like it happened yesterday. The room was small, the air was warm, and I was just playing with the remote, moving from one channel to another. Suddenly, I stopped. A voice spoke in a language I didn't fully understand, but something about it caught my heart. The words were new. The rhythm was strange, yet the feeling was alive. It was a cartoon, full of color and sound, and even though I didn't know what the characters were saying, I couldn't look away. That moment became the first real day of my English journey. At that time I had no teacher. I had no plan. I didn't even know that I was learning. I was just watching. The characters were jumping, laughing, arguing, and smiling, and slowly, I began to notice patterns. I heard the word hi again and again. I heard thank you, let's go, wait, and come on. Without even realizing it, I was picking up words, tone, and rhythm. It didn't feel like study. It felt like magic. And that's the secret I want to share with you today. If you are learning English and you feel stuck, start where I started. Find something you enjoy watching. It doesn't have to be complicated. Begin with a cartoon that makes you smile. Cartoons are made for children, which means they use simple, clear, and emotional English. The sentences are short, the speech is slow, and the pictures help you understand even when you don't know the words. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You just need curiosity. When I watched my first English cartoon, I didn't even try to translate. I just listened. The characters moved, the voices went up and down, and I could feel what they meant. Sometimes I laughed. Sometimes I was confused, but I kept watching. My brain started connecting sound with meaning. I didn't know it then, but that's exactly how children learn their first language. They don't open a grammar book. They listen, feel, and copy. And that's what you can do too. One of the best parts about cartoons is that they repeat a lot. The same characters use the same phrases again and again. When Dora says, "Can you say backpack?" she repeats it until you understand it. When Peppa Pig says, "Let's jump in muddy puddles," she shows it with action. This repetition trains your ears. Every time you hear it, your brain becomes faster at understanding. You start predicting what comes next. That is fluency building itself. Here's something I want you to try. Tonight, pick one cartoon episode in English. It could be Peppa Pig, Bluey, Tom and Jerry, or even SpongeBob. Watch it for 5 minutes. Don't worry about subtitles yet. Just focus on the sound. Look at how the characters move. Guess what they mean. Then, watch it again with English subtitles and check your guesses. Finally, watch it one more time and try to repeat 1 or 2 lines out loud. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just play with the sound like a child does. That small exercise can change everything. When I started doing this, I realized that cartoons were more than entertainment. They were teachers in disguise. They taught me how English feels in real life, how people show happiness, anger, surprise, or sadness. Each emotion had its own rhythm, and soon my ears were no longer afraid of English. I began to enjoy it. I could sense when someone was joking or being serious. I didn't just learn English, I started feeling it. Learning from cartoons also helped me lose my fear of speaking. I started repeating short lines when I was alone. I would look in the mirror and say, "Let's go," or "I'm ready," or "Good job, Ilaha." It felt like I was part of their world. And the more I practiced, the more natural it became. English was no longer something outside of me. It was about vocabulary. It's about feeling. You can practice this right now. Choose one cartoon you like. Close your eyes for a few seconds while listening to it. Don't look at the screen. Just hear the voices. Ask yourself, what emotion do I hear? Are they happy, sad, surprised, or angry? Then open your eyes and see if you were right. This simple exercise will train your ears faster than any grammar lesson. Listening like a child means you don't force understanding. You relax into it. You let your brain do the magic in the background. Every time you hear a sound, it builds a small bridge inside your mind. One day, that bridge becomes strong enough for your words to cross easily. That's fluency being built, quietly, but powerfully. Here's another trick I used. I listened with my whole body. When a character shouted, "Let's go," I felt that energy and said it with them. When they said, "I'm tired," I let my voice drop softly too. It helped me connect sound with feeling. You see, English is not just a collection of words. It's movement, music, and emotion all together. If you can, try shadowing while listening. That means repeating exactly what you hear, as soon as you hear it. Don't worry about mistakes. Just copy the sound and rhythm. When I started doing this, my pronunciation changed without even thinking about it. My mouth began to move in new ways. My tongue found the right places naturally. It's one of the fastest ways to sound natural. Sometimes, I would lie in bed at night and play one cartoon scene on repeat. I would whisper the lines again and again. At first, it felt funny, but soon, those words became part of me. My brain accepted them as my own. That's the beauty of deep listening. The more you listen, the more English becomes your natural sound environment. So if you are learning English right now, stop worrying about grammar and start listening like a child. Listen to cartoons. Listen to songs. Listen to conversations. Don't translate. Just absorb. Let the sounds flow into you like music. Because your ears are the first door to fluency. And once that door is open, speaking becomes easy. I didn't realize it then, but those hours of simple listening were building my English foundation stronger than anything else. Every cartoon, every sound, every repeated line was shaping my mind for natural learning. And one day, I noticed something amazing. I started understanding new sentences without effort. My brain was already ready for them. That's the true magic of listening like a child. You don't force learning. You grow into it. You feel the rhythm. You enjoy the sound, and English becomes part of you without pressure or fear. So tonight, when you watch your favorite cartoon, don't just watch. Listen. Listen deeply, playfully, and patiently. Your ears will become your best teacher. Chapter 3. Speaking like a cartoon character. Do you remember the first time you tried to speak English out loud? Maybe your voice was soft, your mind was full of doubt, and you were afraid someone might laugh. I know that feeling because I felt it too. But something unexpected helped me break that fear. It was not a teacher. It was not a grammar book. It was a cartoon character. The moment I started speaking like a cartoon, everything changed. When you watch cartoons, notice how the characters speak. They are full of energy, emotion, and rhythm. They stretch their words, they exaggerate their feelings, and they use their voice like music. That is why children love them. And that is why they are powerful for English learners. When I copied their voices, I stopped being afraid of making mistakes. I started having fun. I started feeling alive in English. I remember one morning when I watched SpongeBob talking about jellyfish. He spoke so fast, but with so much life. I decided to copy him. I stood in front of the mirror, made the same face, used the same tone, and said the same line. It sounded silly, but I laughed. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was studying English. I felt like I was performing it. And that small change made my voice stronger, my confidence bigger, and my pronunciation clearer. When you speak like a cartoon character, you learn to use emotion. English is not just about correct grammar, it is about how you say things. The feeling in your voice matters more than the number of words you know. So here's what I did, and what you can do too. Every day, pick one short cartoon clip. Watch it 3 times. First, just enjoy it. Second, listen carefully to the rhythm. Third, pause after every line and copy it out loud. Don't whisper, speak with full energy, like the character. The first few times, you might feel shy. You might even laugh at yourself. But that's okay. The goal is not perfection. The goal is freedom. When I practiced like this, my English started to sound more natural. My voice began to rise and fall like real English speakers. I was no longer speaking with my native accent only. I was learning the melody of English without even knowing it. There's a powerful trick here. When you copy emotion, your pronunciation improves automatically. You don't have to think about tongue position or mouth shape. Your body adjusts on its own, because it's following sound and feeling together. Try it now. Pick one line from a cartoon you love. Say it the same way the character does. Feel the joy, the sadness, or the surprise in their voice. When you do this daily, your speaking will change completely. To build your vocabulary the same way, here's a simple and fun activity. Watch one short cartoon episode and choose 5 new words. Don't open a dictionary yet. First, guess their meaning from the situation. Look at what the characters are doing, how they react, and what's happening around them. Then, write those 5 words down and make one short sentence with each. After that, watch the same episode again and listen for those words. You'll notice how easily you remember them this time. Cartoons are like living dictionaries. They don't just tell you what a word means, they show you how it works in real life. That's the difference between memorizing and understanding. When you memorize, the words stay in your brain for a short time. When you understand through context, they live in your heart. And once they live there, they come out naturally when you speak. When I started learning this way, I stopped counting how many words I knew. Instead, I focused on how many words I could feel. Slowly, my English started to sound more natural. I no longer searched for words in my head. They came to me on their own because I had seen them, heard them, and felt them many times in cartoons. That is how real fluency is born. Another thing I learned is that cartoons use the most common and useful vocabulary. The words you hear are not complicated. They are the same words people use in daily life. Words like hungry, sleepy, wait, look, and let's go. These are the building blocks of fluent English. The more you hear them in fun situations, the faster they become part of you. You can also make this more interactive. While watching, pause the video whenever you hear a new word. Say it out loud. Copy the voice of the character. If they say delicious, say it exactly like them. Feel the sound. Feel the meaning. When you speak it with emotion, it becomes yours. You're not just memorizing anymore. You're experiencing the word. I used to have a small notebook I called my cartoon English diary. Every day, I wrote 5 words I learned from cartoons. But instead of just writing definitions, I wrote small sentences with imagination. If the word was puddle, I wrote I jumped in the puddle with Peppa. If the word was ready, I wrote I am ready to learn English. Each sentence connected me to the story. When I read those lines later, I smiled and remembered the exact scene. That smile helped me remember even more. When you learn vocabulary like this, English stops being a list of rules and becomes a living world. You start recognizing words in songs, movies, and conversations. Your ears become sharper. Your confidence grows. You don't need to force yourself to memorize because your brain is already learning naturally through fun and repetition. So if you're tired of memorizing and forgetting, it's time to change your method. Learn like a child again. Watch cartoons, listen carefully, feel the story, and pick up words with joy. Because when learning is fun, your brain never forgets. That's the power of emotional learning. Chapter 5. The Power of Repetition. Have you ever watched the same cartoon more than once and realized you understood more the second time? That's not an accident. That's the secret power of repetition. When you repeat something again and again, your brain builds stronger and faster connections. It's like walking on a path in a forest. The first time, the way is full of bushes. The second time, it becomes easier. And after many times, that path becomes clear and open. The same happens with your English. When I started learning through cartoons, I didn't understand everything the first time, but instead of getting frustrated, I watched again. The second time, I caught new words. The third time, I noticed expressions I had missed before. The fourth time, I could repeat sentences almost perfectly. Every replay made my English stronger. I wasn't bored, because every time I watched, I discovered something new. Repetition is not just doing the same thing again, it's watching with more awareness each time. The first time, you just listen and enjoy. The second time, you pay attention to specific words. The third time, you copy the tone and rhythm. The fourth time, you speak along with the characters. This is how your listening, vocabulary, and speaking improve together. I remember re-watching an episode of Bluey 5 times in 1 week. At first, I only laughed. By the second time, I started to catch words like share mine and please. By the third, I began to understand small jokes. By the fifth, I could repeat almost every line from memory. That's when I realized that fluency is built on repetition, not speed. You don't need hundreds of new videos, you need one video done deeply. Repetition trains your brain to recognize patterns. For example, when you hear "what are you doing?" again and again, you stop translating it. You just understand it instantly. That instant understanding is fluency. The same happens with pronunciation. When you repeat the same sentence often, your mouth starts to move naturally. You don't even think about it. Your brain and body start working together like a team. Here's a simple activity you can do today. Choose one short cartoon episode. Watch it once for fun. Then, watch it again, and focus on how the characters speak. Pause after every line, and repeat out loud. Record yourself, and compare your sound. Do this 3 times. You'll see how much progress happens in just a few days. Your confidence will grow, your memory will grow, and your English will start to sound real. When I was learning, I used to think that watching new things all the time would help me learn faster. But I was wrong. The truth is, when you repeat, you go deeper. You notice small things you missed before. The tone, the rhythm, the way the character moves. even the emotion behind the words. That's what makes English come alive. Think about music. When you listen to your favorite song again and again, you start singing it without trying. You know every beat, every word, every sound. English works exactly the same way. Repetition turns your learning into instinct. One day, you'll realize you are speaking naturally, without thinking too much. Some learners feel shy to repeat the same thing. They think it's boring. But remember, repetition is not boring when you add emotion. Don't repeat like a robot. Repeat like a performer. Use your hands, your face, your heart. Feel every word. Smile when you say it. The emotion you bring gives power to your practice. Repetition also helps you overcome fear. When you say something 10 times, it becomes comfortable. When it's comfortable, it becomes confidence. And when you are confident, you speak naturally. That's why every great speaker, actor, or teacher repeats their lines until they sound effortless. You can do the same with English. So the next time you watch a cartoon, don't move to the next episode too quickly. Watch again, repeat your favorite lines, record your voice, compare it, feel your progress. You'll be surprised at how fast your English grows when you use the power of repetition with joy. I learned that the more I repeated, the more I understood not only words but also feelings. English stopped being a lesson and became a part of my life. It was no longer study time, it was play time. And that's the secret behind every fluent speaker who learns with fun. Chapter 6. From Cartoons to Real Conversations. Have you ever watched a cartoon so many times that you could almost hear the characters talking in your head? That's when real learning begins. Because one day, without planning it, you'll find yourself using those same words in a real conversation. That's exactly what happened to me. What started as simple cartoon watching soon became real-life English. I remember the first time I tried English. Start small. Take the phrases you learned from cartoons and use them with real people. Smile when you speak. Listen to how they reply. You'll see that English is not something to study forever. It's something to live every day. Chapter 7. Why Fun Learning Always Wins. Do you remember the first time you actually enjoyed learning something? It felt light, didn't it? No pressure, no stress, no fear of mistakes. You were simply having fun, and somehow, you learned more in that one moment than in hours of serious study. That's the power of fun. And that's exactly why learning English through cartoons works better than any textbook. Fun doesn't just make you smile, it makes your brain learn faster. When I started watching cartoons, I didn't even think I was learning. I was just having fun. I laughed, I repeated lines, I played with sounds, and yet, week after week, my English kept improving. I began to understand more words, my pronunciation got better, and my confidence grew. I wasn't studying, I was enjoying. That joy became my secret weapon. You see, when learning feels like play, your brain opens up. It listens more carefully, it remembers more deeply. It feels safe to make mistakes. That's why children learn languages so easily. They don't sit with notebooks and pens. They explore, they repeat, they laugh. And that's exactly what happens when you use cartoons to learn English. You're not forcing your mind, you're feeding it joyfully. There was a time when I thought studying English had to be hard. I believed I needed big grammar books, long lists, and strict schedules. But those things made me tired, not fluent. It was only when I started having fun that real progress began. I realized that learning doesn't need to hurt. It can make you happy. And when you're happy, your mind learns like magic. Think about this. When you laugh, your body relaxes. Your mind becomes open. You're not afraid of mistakes. You don't even notice time passing. That's when learning is strongest. Cartoons create this exact state. They keep your mind relaxed and focused at the same time. That's why after watching just one cartoon daily for a few weeks, my English started to sound natural. I wasn't memorizing, I was connecting. Fun learning is not childish, it's smart. When you enjoy what you do, you repeat it more often. When you repeat more often, you improve faster. That's the real formula for fluency. It's not about how serious you look while studying, it's about how often you show up with excitement. Every cartoon, every smile, every small laugh is building your English foundation in ways you can't see. Here's a simple truth. If learning feels like a game, your brain never gets tired. That's why I never stopped watching cartoons, even after my English improved. They remind me to keep learning lightly, with curiosity. When something feels fun, your motivation stays alive. You don't need to push yourself, you want to do it naturally. You can make your own English fun too. Choose your favorite cartoon, the one that makes you laugh or feel happy. Watch it daily for 10 minutes. Repeat your favorite lines. Write one funny sentence in your notebook. Talk about it with yourself or a friend. Turn every little thing into play. Learning through fun creates habits that last. I still remember one evening when I was tired from studying. I decided to relax and watch a simple cartoon. I told myself it was just for rest. But after watching, I realized I had learned 5 new expressions without any effort. That's when I finally understood the truth. When learning feels easy, it goes deeper. When it feels forced, it fades away. Every great English learner I've met has one thing in common. They enjoy it. They turn practice into play. They find joy in small progress. They laugh at mistakes and celebrate effort. That's why they succeed. Not because they studied more, but because they stayed motivated longer. So from now on, don't fight with English. Make peace with it. Smile at it. Play with it. Watch cartoons, sing songs, talk to yourself, and have fun. Let English be your game, your story, your companion. Because when you learn with joy, you never stop learning. And that is how I learned English from cartoons, not through rules, but through laughter. Not through pressure, but through passion. The more fun I had, the more fluent I became. So if you ever doubt your progress, just remember this. Fun is not a distraction from learning. Fun is the way learning truly happens. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel Bookish English, and comment your favorite cartoon below. Tell me which one taught you a new word today. Keep learning with curiosity, keep practicing with joy, and remember, when learning is fun, fluency is never far.